Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We have had a David Ornstein bombshell, and that is in relation to, I want to say Mathys? How would you say it, Sam?
I would have said Matthias, but we're probably going to be told we're wrong, aren't we?
Yeah. So. Spelt very bizarre. It's like Mathys, I think it is.
Yeah. We'll find out in due time.
Mathys.
Let's go with Matthias.
Okay. We always butcher the pronunciations anyway, don't we? So, yeah, there's been some news on that. That's the most relevant and the most popping at the moment, so we're definitely going to touch on that. Dorgu is in Manchester today. Hopefully we'll reveal a couple of more details about his medical and stuff. Marcus Rashford left out of the Europa League squad, which everyone is making an absolute meal out of. I mean, it's really a surprise to myself, but hey-ho. And Luke Shaw returns... for now. He returns for now. Let's see what happens with it. But, of course, the most pressing story at the minute, Sam, is that Ornstein bomb. He says, United are interested in signing Mathys Tel if Bayern Munich sanction a loan departure before the deadline. United not progressing move yet as prioritising exits plus contacts with 19-year-old's camp rather than Bayern, but temporary switch carries appeal. Ornstein, we know, doesn't usually put stuff out like this unless there's something kind of concrete in it. Is this exciting for you? Is this a player you'd be happy with? Have you seen much of him at all?
So there's a couple of things with this, because I think Florian Plettenberg said it yesterday, didn't he? And we know what Florian Plettenberg's like. It's kind of like he has a wheel of mayhem with names behind, doesn't he? And he just sort of spins it and then just goes, that one, cool, let's put that out. But turns out, maybe he was onto something. Maybe he actually knew what he was talking about this time, because David Ornstein has come out with it and it seems to be true. I've not seen a lot of him. He's struggled for game time, hasn't he, at Bayern this season? He's had, I think like 200, 300 minutes, like barely anything, which is probably why he wants to leave. But when your competition is Jamal Musiala, Harry Kane, and the likes,
you're going to struggle.
It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. So there's that. The other side is he's 19. And we've got two young strikers in Rasmus Højlund, who's not getting the job done. Xerxes, who's not really a goal scorer, but he's still young, 23, 24. And then we're going to add a 19-year-old to that. It's not the experienced striker that you think we actually need, is it? Like, he may well be a fantastic... He may come in and just absolutely smash it and score us like 15 goals. You never know. But on the surface, it looks like another young striker. And I don't know how that solves our issues.
Yeah. So there's a lot of times, like, when we are linked with players, Dorgu would be a perfect example. I would probably suggest me and you didn't know really much about him because he plays for Lecce, and we don't watch Lecce week in, week out. I could probably say categorically, I don't think I've ever watched a Lecce game unless they played at Juventus or in Inter Milan, right? So yeah. You have to be honest at times. With Tel, it's a little bit different because he's at Bayern Munich. I've seen bits in the Champions League, but then when it comes to that extent, you just rely on people who you trust, right, in this kind of space who give really good analysis. And I was reading something before. Since joining Bayern Munich, Mathys Tel has scored 12 goals and assisted six, Jesus, that's hard to say, in 1,700 Bundesliga minutes. That's a goal or assist every 96 minutes on average. So you would like to think if he was a starter, maybe you could get a little bit more out of it. But it just surprised me how it comes up. I mean, I already like him for saying, I don't want to go Tottenham, I want to go United. They were the reports coming out.
Didn't he turn down Chelsea as well? I'm sure I saw a report where he said
something
he
like
turned
that,
Chelsea down.
But then why would United appeal to you? That's what I don't get.
Maybe he thinks because Højlund is underperforming and Xerxes, maybe he thinks if I can get in there and start and score goals, I become the main man there. And I'll get minutes, and I'll be like stuff like that. So, is he German?
No, he's French. Tel.
Is he French? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's what he thinks. Maybe he thinks he can get in, become the main man, and sort of score some goals. Which small sort of pool to pick from at the minute with his stats and stuff like that. But like you said, if you extrapolate it out, maybe you can sort of repeat that in the Premier League. But yeah, the surface of it seems like a weird deal. But then again, it's a 6-month loan. Again, like what is there's no harm in sort of trying it and seeing, like you said, the lack of options, isn't there? There's like Nkunku is floating about. There's Mathys Tels. You're not going to go get Gyökeres. You're not going to go get a ready-made thing. I don't see Osimhen happening. I really don't. So these are the sort of people we got left.
My big question is, why are they going to bring him in anyway? So are they, if let's say it does become available and buy me like listen, They tell all the clubs, we want him to go out on loan. This is what we want as a loan package for him. Do you want him? By the time they do that, United turn around going, well, we probably need attackers anyway in the situation that we're in. We don't know. Marcus Rashford could still potentially be frozen out of the squad. So
Anthony's gone.
Anthony's gone as well, of course. Yeah. But then I thought they did that Anthony thing when he went. That opened up wages for Dorgu, and that's how they could do that situation. But
you're still down a forward though, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So but then Dorgu plays all over the pitch as well. He's played as a right winger and a left winger. So I don't know how that's what I mean. I don't get the blueprints behind it, why they're going for him in that sense. But I do think you make a good point about the age profile is one for me. I'm like, if he comes in and it's still a little bit, he's learning his trade. No, you make an impact. You got to get a loan. You make an impact now. We need goals right now. Forget about developing. You only got him for fucking 6 months. If it doesn't hit the ground, then
it's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk for signing. And yes, it doesn't cost as much as Højlund did, the 70-odd million. It's a loan, so maybe there is no loan fee and wages, what have you. So it's less of a financial risk. But in terms of we need goals, and if he doesn't hit the ground running, like you said, what do we do? Because Højlund's not scoring, Xerxes not scoring. If Mathys Tel comes in and doesn't score, where are we getting goals from? How are we winning games?
Yeah. And it's all right if you bring a guy in who has a track record of 15, 20 goals a season, but he's maybe like an Osman who's fallen out of favour with the team. You go, absolutely be all over that, because you'd imagine Osman coming in would still have a really big effect on this team.
Yes.
I think he'd be, a mountain in this team personally. But Tel is one that I really need to do a bit more diligence on him and see him as a player. And you can only imagine, like you said, the only reason why he's not getting game time is because you quite literally have the best striker, in one of the best attackers in the world, and one of the best young attackers in the world. And it's not as if they're kind of stuck for wingers either, Bayern, is it? You just bought Lecce, Gnabry, I'm pretty sure still there, Coleman, Sane. That is a stacked attacking line. So you can see why he doesn't get in. But would you be happy with it if he said, we've done it, we're bringing him in?
It's like I said, it's a risk. So if it was that or no forward comes in at all, then you're going to take it. But it's the sad thing of do you remember when Ollie was in charge and he was like, I need a midfielder? And they went, well, we've got Donny van de Beek. And he was like, well, I don't really want Donny van de Beek.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's Donny van de Beek or nobody because we've done the deal.
Okay, I love Donny.
Right, well, I'll take it then. So it's is it that? Has Amrim signed off on this? Has Amrim gone, yeah, I like him, I think he can add something? Or is it just Ornstein seems to be indicating it's an opportunity that has become available?
Yes.
And they're trying to sort of see the feasibility of it. Or has Amrim actually said, I like him, let's see if we can do something? That depends. It depends what's going on, doesn't it?
But then I think Amrin could be in the same situation where it's him or nothing, like you said, and they go, do you want him or not? He's there available. We can go do that deal. You're struggling with attackers. You're struggling with goals. He's obviously a talented boy. If you want to do it, and 9 times out of 10, I'd imagine a manager would probably go, bring him in. Yeah. We need reinforcements for the rest of the season.
If you're going to get offered bodies, you're going to take it, aren't you? You're just going to be just get people in. And it seems like he's not letting people go until he gets other people in. So apparently now Dorgu's in, Malassi is possibly going on loan. So with Anthony gone, you obviously need another forward. So depending on what happens, and if Rashford ends up going at the end of the season, you definitely need another forward. You definitely need one. So they're desperate times, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah, you always see this towards the end of the window, just scattergun approach. I mean, we've done Igalo's, we've done Cavani towards the end of a summer window. Weghorst was one. We've done so many just mad loan things. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did bring someone in. I have no idea who that's going to be. I mean, everyone was moaning about Nkunku when that got thingied and was like, oh, I don't know, he's old and injured. And I was thinking, well, he's an experienced player with actually prove it. Look at his record in the German league. My God, it was sensational.
Well,
he's a proven goal scorer. But then they're bringing Tel in. Bring him. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me, personally.
The reason how much did he go? He went for what, 70 million from Leipzig to... Yeah. So he went for a big price point and he was highly rated. I think he was rated... Didn't he have a 100 million release clause at some point? So Ragnick identified him, he wanted him when he was at United and stuff like that. So he's definitely a talented guy. There's no denial about that. I've seen him play. He's a very, very good player.
And he's already played in the Premier League to add on to that as well for Chelsea. So
the injury is the only thing that concerns me with Nkunku. Like, if we can get through the injuries, because we don't need another Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, like,
what's the loan
situation. Yeah. But if he comes to the loan and he's injured for most of the loan, it's like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? So, both of them have their pluses and negatives, don't they, really? So it's like, there is no perfect candidate, unfortunately, the situation we're in.
Well, you touched on Marcus Rashford there. We also had news today that he's been left out of the United squad again for the Europa League, despite training this morning, I think. The travelling squad reads like this: Bayern Munich, Heaton, Onana, Dalot, De Ligt, Lindelof, Maguire, Malacia, Martinez, Masraoui, Yoro, who's going to be alongside Amarin in just over an hour's time in the presser. Casemiro, Ugarte, Collier, Ericsson, Fernandes, and Mainu, and then Ahmad, Garnacho, Højlund, and Joshua Zirkzee as our attackers. The way this news is being broke, Sam, it's like it's a massive fucking surprise, and everyone's like, oh, he's been left out again. I can't believe it. This has been the case for months.
He's been left out for what, 12 games now in a row?
A long time. The last game he played, didn't we figure this out? The Forest one, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was the last game he played in, and then he might have been on the bench for one because there weren't enough things. But apart from that,
he got left out in the derby, and then since then he hasn't been in the squad, has he? Like, he's not been in there. So yeah, he's not been in the squad for 12 games, and unless you've been living under a rock, he did an interview where he basically said he doesn't want to be here. And he wants the new challenge. So what is a manager supposed to do with that if he's not training right and he's not working hard enough and his outside life is affecting his, like, what he's doing at the club, and he's done an interview basically saying he doesn't want to be here?
Yeah.
Like, what is the manager supposed to do? Like, what, do you know what I mean? He's not going to, if he puts him in and he plays him or he makes him part of the squad, it just basically tells all the other players, well, yeah, do what you fucking want because he is and he's still in the squad. Have to set a standard, man. And if that means keeping him out of the squad, that's what he's got to do.
I mean, the longer the days go on, the more highly unlikely it is that he's going to leave, which means you've got a case of, if he doesn't leave in January, what the fuck are we going to do? We can't keep doing this, can we? Because it's just going to be a media circus. Every week the game comes around. And this is what pisses me off about some of the journalists. Some of the journalists who go into the presses are fantastic. We've had a couple of them on the channel before. Really, really good, solid journalists. Some of them that go in there, they have the same question about Marcus Rashford week in, week out. And I'm just fucking... But I don't know about you, but I'm bored with it. I'm sick of seeing it.
They know, though, like, especially for the sort of lower publications, like, we know we were talking about, like, Lockhurst and
Daily Mail, The Sun, these kind of ones,
that kind of stuff. They know if they put Rashford in a headline, that is going to sell papers, that is going to get clicks. Doesn't matter what it is. So that's all they're going to go for in the press conferences. They're going to go for the low-hanging fruit to get the headline to earn the money.
Yeah.
Whereas when you've got journalists like from The Athletic and Ornstein and stuff like that, they actually want to know deep, like, stuff, tactical things, all that sort of stuff that we're interested in. That's the difference. And it's just like, it's always going to be that way when it's a star player. It was the same with David Beckham when he was at United. It's just like, oh, we're going to ask you, Sir Alex, about David's latest haircut. It's like, why? Why does it matter what his haircut is? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Like,
we
just
speak about this with
let it go.
James yesterday, won't we? About, like, the way the algorithm works in social media, especially the football space. I mean, you look how negative Twitter is and these kind of things. It's that's why they succeed in that kind of thing, because they'll put. I mean, remember that article about Onana dropped his keys after he made a mistake?
Oh, God's sake!
Come on, man, fucking hell! Like, what is your angle on this? You know what I mean? It's just that was the Daily Mail who posted that as well.
I don't know who it was, what publication it was, but they had a story where Ten Hag was out on his bike cycling around Altrincham, and you're like, right, okay. I don't understand what the urgency or the story is here.
Yeah, some of the aggregator accounts as well just report really weird shit. But yeah, we had Ben Jacobs as well before in regards to Rashford saying that Ahli, I mean, I'm losing track of these teams. I don't know if any of them are. Have made a new approach for you, Rashford. The Saudi club are looking to take advantage of Barcelona struggling to do a deal. That's, to me, Sam, straight away, it's just a nothing kind of report. I don't see him ever going to Saudi in the next couple of years, for me personally.
Not at 27. Like, I think it's too early for him to go. And he clearly sees himself as a top player and he wants to stay in Europe, get back in the England squad. I think if he goes to Saudi, his England dream, like, that's done. It's over. So, yeah, I think that's what he wants. So I can't see that. They're probably the only people who could afford his wages. Like that's probably the only reason he would go there, because he's the only one who can afford his wages. But yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Sticking with the England internationals or non-England internationals at the moment, Luke Shaw has returned to first team training, Sam. We will both caveat this with, for now, it's returned to first team training, but a lot of it's being made that on the day that Dorgu's flying into Manchester, all of a sudden, I mean, I'm seeing Undertaker memes and everything of like popping out the coffin. We've seen, and that was Stretford Paddock who put that out, which made me laugh. But it is interesting, isn't it, the timing, I suppose.
I mean, it has happened before, hasn't it? I remember he was like injured and we brought in, was it Alex Tellers? Yeah. And it's like all of a sudden he's fit and he's raring and he ends up becoming one of the best left backs in Europe, gets like player of the tournament at the Euros and shit. And then died off again, brought in Malacia. Malacia had a rough couple of games, didn't he? His first like a couple, Shaw came back in, took that spot away from him. So it just seems like it's happening all over again. So yeah, if you're a conspiracy theorist, I think you'd think, oh, Shaw thinks when there's no other left back competition, he's sitting at home. He's like, I can't be asked. And now there's competition back in. He's like, oh shit, I better get on my bike and start going again. But yeah, maybe it's just convenient timing.
Yeah. Well, we got loads of these in the chat, so get your opinions in. I want to hear what you guys think about Mathys Tel. If any of you have watched him more than me and Sam have, please do give us your analysis on him. Let us know him as a player. I've seen little bits, but I don't want to make a judgment based off that. I want to do some proper research and due diligence, as they always do, with kind of new targets. By the time I've done that, let's be honest, I could do a video on it, and in a day, it'll just be like, yeah, he's not moving. He's staying at Bayern Munich now. And that's the nature of the way this hamster wheel works in the football transfer area. Lindelof the GOAT saying, if we are to sign Tel, it must be permanent. He's 19 and getting him on loan won't do much. Plus, Rashford is on his way out and we need a replacement. Pat, mate, he probably likes Amorim. I mean, I don't see why not. He's a lovely guy. Robert Nasaya says, Man United is done with the transfer. I don't know if you mean he's done with the transfer window in general, or you might have to expand on that point, Robert. Vegard says, we must unite as fans and get Jim and the Glazers out. That's very random. Mathys Tel would play left 10, right? I think Neen is more like... Yeah, I think he could play across the front line in general, but I would probably imagine him in one of those attacking areas. Gamer TV's just put, as exclusively revealed yesterday, Manchester United have entered the race for Mathys Tel and have made contact with his management. That was plenty goal. So he's kind of putting that out there, saying, remember, guys, I put this first.
By the way.
Everyone's going, Ornstein bomb. And he's like, oh, I fucking put this first. I put it out there.
A broken clock's right twice a day, isn't it?
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. But we know he does have links in Germany, so it's one of them. I have a lot of fear after another Malacia type of signing. We're not signed him yet. He's getting there. Just a couple of details on the Dorgu deal. So Lecce had been holding out for 33.6 million for Patrick Dorgu, but negotiations have brought the figure to below United's aim of a total £30 million pound package, with the add-ons being a split of simple bonuses and others that are more difficult to achieve. He's flying into Manchester Airport today. Could be as we're speaking, literally right now. He'll be picked up and driven to Carrington to complete a move to United with a medical, etc. So it's pretty much done and dusted. Got announced literally as soon as we finished the show, won it with James last night.
Of course it did.
Finally, Amorim's first signing, Sam. How does it feel?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that we didn't overpay, stuck to our guns and stuff. Obviously, the papers are going to report it. It's like, what is the thing? It's like 36 euros, isn't it?
10 million rupees.
Like, yeah. So they're going to be like, oh yeah, they paid 36 million, when in reality we paid like, what, 25 million pounds plus 4.5 million in add-ons, some of which are achievable, some of which are a bit more difficult. But they're not going to bother with that. They're just going to go with the highest thing. So yeah, watch out for that.
That's a proper pet peeve that of mine. Sorry to interrupt you there. There's, when they inflate it so much.
Yeah.
What do you mean you bought Anthony for 110 mil? And you're like, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. We paid a lot of money, but we didn't pay that fucking much. Like, come on.
So it is what it is. I can't wait. Yeah, TalkSport will go with that tomorrow, I'm sure. I'm glad. Apparently it was an Amorim target that he wanted, and he was particular about. It's in a position that we desperately need, because we basically have no wing backs and we don't have a single natural left wing back, left full back. So yeah, I'm really happy. Price point is good. Age profile is good. Don't know much about the kid, but the things I've read seem to be really positive. He's raw, but apparently he's very versatile as well. Can play in the midfield. Can play a wing.
I didn't realise how versatile he was.
Yeah, he's played a lot of positions. Crazy. So yeah, that'll be useful in this sort of system that we're sort of working with Amrim. So yeah, I'm excited to see him play. I'm guessing he won't be registered for the Europa League game.
Well, can he? Well, Lecce aren't in any European things.
No.
What am I thinking?
Maybe we see him for the Palace game. Maybe.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It depends how quickly they get the medical done, because then he's got to have a training session with the team. I doubt Amarin would, in reality, throw him straight in. I don't think. No, I'm not sure. He seems to be a bit more precautious with the younger ones. We saw what happened with Yoro, for example. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited because I have seen his profile. This is a player who I've done a bit more research on and watched a lot of. And we're recording something tomorrow, by the way, with someone who knows a lot more about him. Which should be very, very interesting to give you detail on that. But yeah, I'm fascinated because I do think he fits Amarin's profile perfectly of what he wants there. And also he's going to be filling in loads of, because how they presented it to him probably is like, look, first and foremost, you're going to play for Manchester United, it's going to be in the Premier League, right? That's the tapping that you get with any kind of offer. Not only that, if you look at our team at the minute, there's a lot of players that don't fit the areas we're trying to put them in. Square pegs, round holes. You can come in, you could play wing back, right wing back, you could play as one of the attacking players, you could play everywhere. You could play as left-sided or right-sided in the centre half. He's going to get a lot of minutes, which is exciting.
Playing Europe as well, which you won't be getting at Lecce. So I know it's the Europa League, it's not the Champions League, but it's still Europe, so you've got that on top of it. And then I'm sure if we win the Europa League and we end up getting into the Champions League, there's another selling point. It's like next season you could be playing in the Champions League. So there's another couple of things.
James McGregor saying finally we got a left-footed left back, but is he left-footed?
Yeah, he's left-footed.
Are you sure?
Left-footed. Yeah. I looked up on Transfermarkt the other day. He's left-footed.
I thought he was right-footed.
Maybe he's like was it
bipedal?
Ambipedal, that's the one.
Yeah. Like Branthwaite is basically.
Yeah.
I'd imagine he is because of how versatile he is. But yeah, it's nice, isn't it? From going from the days of fucking Amrabat, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, is anyone else that I'm missing? I'm sure there probably is. All playing at left back. Johnny Evans has moved over to that side at times. Lissandro's played over there.
Lindelof? Did Lindelof play left back?
Lindelof played left back in a cup game, I think it was. So to go from that to someone like, it is night and day difference profile wise.
Amrabat played there as well.
Yeah. In his first couple of games. Yeah. 30k a week for Dorgu, saying Craig the Unicorn. That's very interesting. That's a very low wage, isn't it? If that's what he's on. You can't imagine Lecce's finances. That's probably the biggest sale, isn't it? What they're making at the moment.
He's probably like double, tripled his wages, hasn't he? He's probably on 10k? Maybe less at Lecce, I'd imagine. I know what Anthony on like 20k at Ajax, and then we did give him 200. So basically times it by 100, like ridiculous. Absolutely
is that true? That
I think so. Yeah, I think he was on like 20k at Ajax a week, and we gave him 200k a week.
Oh, it's crazy. James saying whether we need an outright 9 or not, Tel is a forward line utility player, which Nick identified in Danny Olmo. Utility players can be key over a course of a season, so Tel can be and would be used, much like Patrick Dorgu would as well. Yeah, that was saying. Red Jedi's in the chat saying, "How's it going, guys? How are you, sir? Let me know. It's going well at the minute. It just depends what kind of business we end up doing, the next kind of couple of days. I really don't know what to expect from this window, Sam.
I was expecting really sort of nothing. And then the sort of Dorgu link appeared. I was like, okay, maybe that's the one we bring in. And now Mathys Tel's come out of nowhere. Laurie Whitwell said after the Dorgu thing, he said United are looking at another player, didn't they? He said they're interested in another player. And I was like, maybe Nkunku and now Mathys Tel. So maybe they're looking at a forward. Maybe there's a bunch of forwards that they're looking at. And they're just trying to identify like what deal they can do financially, what works and stuff like that. Honestly, he did say we're focusing on outgoings. So I imagine there's a couple more players on the way out. I know Malassi has been mentioned on loan. Rashford, big question mark. But like you said, every day it gets closer to the deadline, looks less likely that he's going to go anywhere. And then, is there anybody else you'd see like leaving at this point?
To be honest, the Rashford thing, I just do not see happening at all. No. If you really read into like the financial figures and the clubs Barcelona are struggling, and that's his only real.
Can't register players, so even if they did get him, like you can't register him anyway.
And that's after even with Rashford willing to take a wage cut, I believe. So I don't see that happening. The Garnacho thing seems to have gone really, really quiet, and I've got a suspicion that Napoli are just literally waiting for the last 2 days because they haven't got the money to turn around and say, well, yeah, our last offer will increase it by about 5 mil, and to try pinch the pockets and be like, yeah, but I don't know.
It's been saying Chelsea are offering a deal, offering an offer imminently, but it's not happened, has it? Like it was 2 days ago, they're saying it's going to happen, that they're going to make an offer, and they haven't.
And this was journalists around Chelsea as well who were saying this.
So I'm like, what's happened to that? Have they changed their minds on that? Are they not? Like, don't know.
Well, they're looking at this Tel as well. I mean, they're looking at loads of attacking players at the moment who they could potentially bring in. So this is what I mean. It's actually turned into these last 3 days now are going to be a fucking circus. Absolute circus.
Did you see? There was a thing at Arsenal going after Ollie Watkins. They've had a bid rejected from Villa.
Are they?
Yeah, I just saw that on Twitter like 5 minutes ago.
From a reliable journalist, though, or was it a flaky journalist?
It wasn't Ornstein, put it that way. Let me find.
That's kind of like muddy waters, isn't it? Since it's not him or Romano.
Let me find who sort of put it out.
Well, even Romano nowadays is a sticky one, arguing with Ornstein and all that kind of stuff.
Romano's a tapping merchant, isn't he? Yeah. Like he's a proper tapping merchant.
He's starting to become one. To be fair, I think his ties in Italy are still good. So things like Dorgu, he probably has really good contacts with the agents over there. But I think the Premier League, a lot of the stuff, Ornstein's the guy at the minute.
Oh, yeah.
Jedi saying can see Rashford going Dortmund in the last 24, 48 hours of the window with Tel coming in on loan with an obligation. Can't see that personally. Dortmund, no chance. Dortmund would come like Oliver at the film, if anyone's seen that. Like, please, sir, when they're trying to buy a player, when they're selling a player, it's like, we want fucking hundreds of millions of pounds, please, mate. What a bollocks.
Yeah, no, it's Dortmund aren't spending anything over like a couple of million for a player. Like, they're not. Ben Jacobs. So, yeah.
50-50. I don't know with him, to be honest. Some stuff he puts.
Arsenal seen an approach rejected by Aston Villa for Ollie Watkins. Interesting, Watkins is strong, but not an easy deal to get done. So, yeah.
And with, obviously, someone just put in the chat, which I knew about anyway, but just refreshing the memory about Al Nassr going in for John Duran for 75 million euros. So they're not going to sell both.
No.
You know what I mean?
Unless Arsenal come in and be like, we'll give you 100 plus for Watkins.
They're not doing that in January. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Junior Gabba says, would you sell Rasmus for £50 million? No, for me, I want to get in a proper striker, and I want to let Rasmus develop and see where we're at. That's what I would do personally. I won't just sell him now because he's having a bad season. If he did that after every striker would have a bad season,
I would never have a striker.
No, you never have a striker, would you? So I think you have a bit of patience with him.
Rooney had bad seasons under us. Yeah, he had bad runs of games and stuff like that.
We're not comparing Rooney to...
No. Just by the way, Rooney is a class and a half above most strikers. Never mind Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah.
But like even the best strikers have off days and off seasons and stuff like that. So, and again, he's young. He's 20, 21. Let's give him time. He should not have come into United as their main striker, as their main number 9 and gone, basically, you've got to deliver goals, mate. That shouldn't have happened. He should have been brought in with an experienced striker like a Harry Kane or something like that. And like you said, been allowed to develop, but he hasn't, which has probably hurt him quite a lot. So I think, yeah, you're right. We need to bring in somebody experienced so he can learn off them. And like, that's the way you do it. But at the minute, we don't have that option.
Interesting times. If anyone for the last couple of minutes has any kind of questions they want to chuck in, any topics, any players you would like to discuss as well, get it in the comments section and we shall discuss. But like we said, the transfer's heating up at the minute. We've got the 2nd of February, I think the window closes officially. I mean, it's starting to get a bit chaotic at the moment. So if you want the live update on the dot, like we usually do, I mean, Ornstein reported this just not even an hour ago, probably, and we're live. So turn on the notification bell so when we do go live, it'll just drop down on your phone or whatever. You can tap it and get involved in the discussions because I love hearing people's opinions, especially on players that I don't know much about. And Mathys Tel fits under that umbrella for me personally. Jonathan David, not for me. Sam?
Not a fan. Not a fan. I mean, it's a cheap deal, isn't it? Because he's out of contract, I think.
Yes, correct.
He's out of contract. So there's that. But apart from that, I don't think so. Yeah, don't forget as well, we'll be recording the FCSB preview straight after this, and that'll be out tonight at 7:00. So do stick around for that. James McGuigan, what happened to the hype of Ferguson at Brighton? That young kid, he's been plagued with injuries, hasn't he? Like he's since then he's just been injured quite a lot. And then when he has got back, Danny Welbeck's just been absolutely smashing it. So he's just not got in the team really. But then you're in the same issue, aren't you? What is he, 19, 20? Like it's weird, isn't it? How he was valued. What did he want? Like 100 million?
80 to 100.
Yeah. And now he's probably what, 30, 40 million?
Yeah, there was a lot of hype around him initially when he was in the team, and because he was scoring goals, and it looked like, you know, this looks interesting. I don't know if you class him. Do you class Irish as British?
No, don't say that.
Don't say that. Okay.
No.
Well, this is why I ask questions, so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
But look, he's a player in the Premier League who, you know, for whatever you want to say, and he was bagging goals. So
he's a United fan as well.
And he's a United fan, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of United fans in Ireland. So that's the reason why it was being hyped up so much. He was doing well under De Zerbi, I think, initially. It was. But then since it's just like, not really featured. I rarely see him for Brighton. He's on João Pedro or Welbeck.
Yeah. He's on the bench, but because he had all these injuries. And like you said, João Pedro came in, Danny Welbeck stepped up. So he's found his time, really. I'd like to see him go on loan, personally. Go on loan to somewhere and get some time, but we'll see what happens. Bucharest or Palace, which result is more important to you fellas? Bucharest, I couldn't give a shit about the Premier League anymore. Couldn't care less.
Yeah, I would probably agree. I said I'd put all the eggs and the chicken in the basket with the Europa League for now. So
would you take João Felix on loan? Nick, you like João Felix, don't you?
I do, but in terms of fitting the system, I think he would do really well. Or I think he would be a like-for-like kind of fit. But I don't think he's climatized to the Premier League necessarily. I know Chelsea have a lot of attackers, but I think, you know, you get them set players sometimes where they need a bit more time on the ball, and they get it in other leagues, like the Italian, Spanish leagues. In the Premier League, because you're so aggressively pressed and, like, you have a couple of seconds to think about things. He doesn't seem to fit. Just from what I've watched, I mean, Chelsea fans might tell me different, but from what I've seen and when I've, you know, closely looked at him, there's something there. But maybe it's just a case of the right coach and the right time, potentially. If United is that, I'm not sure. But I wouldn't take a gamble on him personally.
No. When he plays for Portugal, he looks phenomenal. Like, he looks absolutely, like, in the Euros and the World Cup, he looks phenomenal when he plays for Portugal. Much like Bruno. Bruno looks so much better for Portugal than he does for us. It's insane. So there's something in that. But, Arsenal, 60 million bid for Watkins was rejected. So they bid 60 million for him. Yeah.
Villa are never going to fucking... I mean, they rejected a £50-odd million bid for Duran. They're not going to accept a 60 million bid for Watkins, are they? Come
on. Does a trophy in Europe mean we have had a better season and the teams fighting in the top four? Well, that was the argument last year, wasn't it? That we won an FA Cup, beating City, and Arsenal didn't win anything but finished second. So it's like, well, who had the better season?
If you're dealing with facts and not feelings... if Arteta was to leave his position now as Arsenal manager, Erik ten Hag was more successful at United.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And facts, like I said, don't care about feelings.
Three finals, 2 trophies, second place finish.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Third place. Third place finish. It wasn't his first season, wasn't it?
Third place. Yeah, third place.
It was not Ole, Mourinho who finished second, wasn't it? In fact,
didn't Ollie do it? I think
Ollie did it as well, yeah. Well, it gets us into the same competition punch. I'd love Cunha. Cunha would... it'd be unbelievable.
That's a dream signing. That's the dream
the price,
signing,
money involved in that. I'm sure I read somewhere that Wolves...
60 million?
60 plus to even consider an offer. So that ain't getting done, as much as I love him as a player.
We haven't got 60 million to chuck around.
Definitely not. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, guys. Appreciate every single one of you joining in. It's nice to see so many fresh faces as well. Do subscribe to the channel. We're on 11,468 subs. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do help us get to 11,500. That'd be absolutely amazing. Me and Sam are going to go record the exciting FCSB Bucharest preview. So, we're going to discuss tactics and what it's going to be like in the stadium and the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. So, that'll be out at 7 o'clock. If you could check that preview out and leave a comment in with your predicted 11s and quickfire questions and all that stuff, that'd be great. And apart from that, we'll be back tomorrow as well. So, appreciate you. See you in a bit.